Hello, and welcome to Bold Women Lawyers Spotlight Interview. And today, the interview is with myself. I'm going to be talking about a topic that I know affects many of my clients and many of you. And it's the idea that what you're telling yourself, frankly, is just sabotaging your own success. So let's talk about what that means because this comes up a lot. And it's really common with women lawyers. So let's start by thinking about, who women lawyers really are. We're high achievers. And if we've decided that we want to either have a solo firm or, we are running our own small law firm, we're running a small business, either way. And frequently the thought going into it is something along the lines of, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of lawyers before me have done this. So surely I can do it. And, what's the big deal? I'll figure it out. And I understand thinking that way. You know your area of the law, whatever it might be, and you have your own reasons that you've decided to run your own law business, be it a solo firm or a small law firm. And you just think, I can make this work. I will make this work. You are full of enthusiasm. You're full of excitement. It's really great when you first start. And you get into it and you start to have some success and everything feels good. And then a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, you look at what you've achieved and you're really disappointed because you have not met the goals that you set for yourself. And you can't figure out why. Well, the first thing that you need to do is just step back a little bit and think about the story that you're telling yourself about yourself. We all do it. We all have these sort of ingrained beliefs about ourselves that we tell ourselves either out loud sometimes or internally. But we tell ourselves these stories and they're not true. But we keep looking for the reasons to support a finding that they are true. So, for example, I hear things like, I'm just not good at business. I don't handle employees well. I'm not a good enough lawyer. Not that I'm not a good lawyer, I'm not good enough. I'm really bad at handling money. I'm really bad at marketing. These are some of the common stories that people tell themselves to explain why they're having struggles in their solo or small law firms and making it the success that they want it to be. And these things actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy after a while because, as I said, you tell yourself these things, and then you start to look for the evidence to support it. To show yourself that, yeah, that's true. I'm really bad at business. I'm really bad at dealing with team members and employees, or I'm not a good enough lawyer. But, what if I told you, you know what? It doesn't have to be that way because the things that you're telling yourself aren't true. So let's start with just the very common complaint that I hear people say about themselves, which is, I'm just not good at business. Well, step back a little bit. What does that really mean? What are you really talking about? Are you having problems with client development? Maybe it's client onboarding. Are you having trouble with your workflow processes? Maybe you're having trouble with your financial aspects, meaning, do you have the right information? Do you have people that are helping you by making sure your books are done properly? Are you reviewing it properly, et cetera? But when people say to me, I'm just not good at business, that really doesn't mean anything because business is a huge entity. So you need to step back and say, well, what part of my business am I having problems with? So I'll give you a recent example from a client I was working with. As we worked through what was really going on in her business, it turned out that where there was a big obstacle was actually in the intake and onboarding process. And it really needed to be streamlined and made a lot more efficient. And so we were able to work through that and figure out what were the next steps to take to streamline it. And by streamlining it, what I really mean is to have the right people doing the intakes, and the right people were not the lawyers in the law firm as it had been. The right people were the team members who were capable and could be trained to do a great job at intake. And then streamlining it by creating scripts for intake, and streamlining it by creating the parameters that the team members could use to either say yes or no to a matter coming in, or to know which attorney should this be assigned to make the process the most efficient. Who should I schedule the client meeting with? Which lawyer? Who's best at handling this type of an issue, this type of a problem? So as we work through that, the complaint of, I'm just not good at business, got honed down very quickly to, no, I'm just having problems with my intake process, and I need to get that process straightened out and running much better so that it will make everything that falls behind it run smoothly. And that's exactly what happened. So remember, when you start feeling sort of down on yourself about your business, about you may feel that you're not successful, when you start feeling that way, you need to take a step back, and you need to make sure that you really understand specifically, what are you having problems with? Where is the stumbling block in your business? Okay. And why are you telling yourself this story? Uh, it's complaints, like I said, that I hear over and over again from women lawyers about problems that they're having with their business. And it's frequently called imposter syndrome now, when you just feel like you're not good enough at anything, and someday somebody's going to open the cover and find out that you really are an imposter. Again, that's not true. And there's ways to deal with it. One way is what I just described. Let's just step back and let's break it down and figure out what the real obstacle and problem is in the business, so that you can fix that problem and then move forward. There's lots of other ways to deal with this problem, and I don't have time today to share all of them, but I will tell you that because it is such an issue that I frequently deal with, I'm actually teaching a masterclass on it on March 22nd. And so I'm going to put up the information if you want to register. It's called Becoming an Empowered and Unstoppable Lawyer: Release the Imposter Syndrome Holding You Back from Limitless Success. And imposter syndrome will do that. It will completely hold you back if you don't recognize it and find effective ways to deal with it. So we're going to talk about all of that in the masterclass. It's on March 22nd at 12 noon. We're going to talk about what imposter syndrome really is for lawyers, how you can recognize it, steps that you can take to deal with it. That's really important, that you consistently take those steps to deal with it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interactive, and that, I'm happy to take examples and questions from people in the audience. So I'd really look forward to having you join me March 22nd at noon, but Eastern time. And I think by then we'll be on daylight savings time. We could do a whole talk on that, but I won't. And don't worry, if you can't make it live, that's okay. As long as you register, you'll get the replay. So you'll get lots of tips on how to deal with your own imposter syndrome, because we all have it. You'll get lots of tips on that, so that you can find a way to not only feel better about yourself, your progress, and your success, but also to make your business run better. So I hope you found this helpful. I really enjoyed talking to you today and look forward to talking to you again next week.